Hello, friends. My name is Adam, and I'm on a quest to be the most prolific reviewer of all time. And yesterday, I watched the Bette Davis classic from 1946 called, no, not 1946, from 1964, wow, called Dead Ringer. Dead Ringer. Yeah, so I have been on this Bette Davis kick. I think like I broke my elbow and I was like, hey, Bette Davis is interesting. So my elbow is still broken. It doesn't really look like it, but I don't have a lot of range of movement. And I went to the doctor today and I was expecting the doctor to say something like, oh, yeah, you can go back to work tomorrow, but another 3 weeks. Because I'm like, well, my job is typing. And he's like, yeah, you can do that, but you're going to be in pain, so it's probably better not to be in pain when you're working, right? Yeah, I guess so. All right, Dead Ringer, though. Back to Dead Ringer. Dead Ringer. So it stars Bette Davis and also Carl Madden as her one of her love interests, and Peter Lawford as her other love interest. And interestingly enough, it was directed by Paul Henreid, who had starred in two other Bette Davis films. One called Deception, which was Bette Davis's first flop, and another called Now Voyager, which is considered to be one of her best films. And I don't think that this is really considered to be one of her best films because it kind of comes a lot after her heyday. But it's a very interesting film nonetheless. It's about these two twins. One is called Edith and the other is called Margaret. And the plot is basically like the kind of triggering action of the plot is that Margaret has stolen Edith's love interest about maybe 12 years ago. And she did that by pretending to be pregnant, and they had a relationship. And Margaret goes off and gets married and lives this sort of like really high class life because this person was really rich and wealthy. And Edith kind of struggles by she opens a nightclub, but it's a failure. And the scenes in the nightclub are pretty cool too because it's clear that she has this kind of support system, but she's not happy with it at all. So anyway, the movie begins by with this funeral, and you see Margaret, who's covered in black, and Edith is just looking at everything. And so Margaret notices Edith, and she's like, "Hey, let's catch up." And they have this like awkward conversation as sisters, and Edith decides like so Edith's life is not going very well, and she sees that Margaret is not really upset about her husband's death, so she gets this plot to get revenge against her sister and murders her sister. And then she's going to take the life of her sister, but that proves to be, I mean, take the life of like literally and metaphorically because she moves into her sister's house. She starts living her sister's life because they're identical twins. And surprisingly or unsurprisingly, there are a lot of complications with that decision. So I don't want to spoil the whole movie because I think that you should watch it, but let me just say a few things that I found interesting about the film. The first one was that the when I first started watching it, I was like really tired because it was the first night that I was sleeping without or maybe it was the day that I was going to remove the sling. So I was a bit worried about that. And actually, it worked pretty well. But anyway, I was worried about that. So I didn't sleep very well. So I put the movie on and I was kind of falling asleep in the first part of it. But then I stopped it and then I started paying attention to what was happening. Or maybe the movie rather made me pay attention to what's happening. So it starts very, very slowly. And then it gets more and more interesting because Edith's character, I wasn't really that sympathetic to her in the beginning and also in the end, but it's interesting how, like, the it's kind of like a situation: the grass is green, always greener on the other side, and people always expect the other person's life to be so great and that. And I think Margaret's life was probably better than Edith's, but I don't think that Edith was expecting so many complications. And about Davis's performance, she does a really good job. I mean, there's one scene where she's a bit over the top, like overacting, I would say. And there is a little bit of that, but I think and I don't know how to explain this exactly, but her face speaks volumes. Like there's this one scene where she knows something and another character is discovering something about her, like she's not her sister, she's not Margaret, and the other character is realizing this in real time, and Edith is realizing that that character knows in real time too. And there's just some subtle movements in Bette Davis's face which are kind of like, so Bette Davis was never a silent film actress, but she began her career in the era of silent film. So she's just basically using these techniques to show you the emotion that she's going through, the thoughts that she is going through. And it's really, really good. And I think the other thing that I found interesting is Bette Davis was a smoker. She smoked a lot. She smoked a lot, and you know, probably I don't know if this is something that everybody has this realization, but a lot of people when I was growing up smoked. Maybe not so much now, but a lot of people smoked. And so I had this realization that the heavy smokers, like especially I mean men too, but women who smoked heavily when they were young did not look great when they were older. Like they looked a lot older. And I think Bette Davis had the same thing. Like in her late 40s, she looked a lot older than she was. So her face is showing all of this, the lines of battle, let's say. She doesn't, so, and I think the other thing about Bette Davis is that she was never like drop dead gorgeous like somebody like Joan Crawford or, some of those other big stars. Bette Davis made her career on being an actress, right? So she was cute, but not like super attractive. So when that left, the change, maybe it wasn't as dramatic. I mean, I think actually the change is dramatic because you're like, oh, she's not cute anymore. She's like, she's I don't want to say withered, but she's weathered, right? She's weathered. And it's actually really effective for the character because both characters actually, because you can see that these are middle-aged women who have made different choices and both of them have kind of been unsuccessful in their lives by different definitions. And I think maybe one criticism of Bette Davis's performance is that, so Bette Davis is the star and the co-star of this movie. And you don't really see a lot of distinctions between Margaret and Edith. And I think people could be critical about that, but I think actually it makes a lot of sense in the story because Edith is resentful of Margaret and Edith thinks that Margaret is like a horrible person and Edith does horrible things too. So it's the story of these two sisters who are remarkably similar and it ends in tragedy for both of them. I won't tell you what tragedy it is, but that ending is a great ending too. It's a really great ending. But I won't tell you because I don't want to ruin the surprise for you because I really think you should watch it. And I think the other thing is I think Betty Davis probably fought for this, although I couldn't find any information. But as I said, Betty Davis on film is like in this movie, she's not the most attractive like woman there, but still she is a sexually desirable person. So at least as Margaret, she's sexually, well, I mean actually as both. So Margaret and Edith both have these people who are interested in them for different reasons. And there's this police officer who's interested in Edith, and let's say he's not like the most passionate guy in the world, but he loves her. He really wants to be with her, and he doesn't know exactly how to say it, but he is, devoted to her, and that kind of spurs the rest of the movie. Whereas Margaret is sort of pursued heavily by Tony, and Tony's motivations are materialistic, but he's also interested in her sexually, and there's never a point where so things turn right. Again, I'm not going to tell you exactly how they turn, but they turn. And in other movies, in worse movies, the first thing that Tony would say would be like, "You're a disgusting old woman, you're a hag, I don't like you anymore." And that's clearly not the case, right? Like, and I think that's probably, as I said, I don't have any proof of this, but I think Betty Davis was really good at advocating for her characters. So in this world, Edith and Margaret are attractive, middle-aged women. And they're not like physically the most attractive, but there are other things that are attractive about them. And I think the movie does a good job of showing that. So I would say Dead Ringer maybe 8 out of 10. I think it's up there with Betty Davis classics, classic films. I don't know what I would say the best Betty Davis film is that I watched recently. Now I'm putting myself on the spot and I don't really need to. Like, you can go look at my reviews. I think Whatever Happened to Baby Jane is good. Oh, yeah, of course. I think All About Eve is Betty Davis's best work. It's her at the top of her form. But yeah, so she does characters. So she's a person who lets the character inhabit her. And I think that she does a great job in this movie. A little bit of overacting, as I said, but it's bearable. The story kind of really holds together. What did you think about this movie? If you've seen it, what did you think about Dead Ringer from 1964? And if you haven't seen it, I would recommend that you go and watch it as soon as you can. All right, so to finish off, if you like what I do, please like and subscribe to my channel. I have 220 subscribers. I'm looking for 250 subscribers by the end of January, and I think that's completely possible. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, please give me a follow. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.